On episode 459 of Nintendo Switchcraft, we've got some news about Super Smash Bros. Ubisoft is looking for people, and some of my favorite games are rumored to be coming to the Nintendo Switch, and another of my favorite games is definitely coming to the Nintendo Switch. Those stories on this episode of Nintendo Switchcraft.
I'm Victor from North Carolina. Don't get distracted by shiny things because you're listening to Nintendo Switchcraft.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Nintendo Switchcraft, your source for all the Nintendo news that you're looking for. I'm Bill, I'm your host. I'm here to talk about Nintendo stuff. Let's get started. Before we do, real quick, if you want to watch the show live, I record it live on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so make sure that you are there. I am going to be doing an episode on Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to record it live. It is a bonus episode. I was talking to a friend today, and I was talking about how I used to do four episodes, and he said, why don't you do an episode on Saturdays where it's just Q&A, just questions and answers, all right? So that's what I'm going to do, and the first question, I already know what it is, and that's going to be the main part of the episode, but if you have questions that you want to send in to the show, then use the hashtag on Twitter, AskRJS. All right, that's hashtag AskRJS, and I will search for that hashtag. I will answer those questions on the show. They can be about whatever you want. All right. So anyway, that's the plan for Saturday. AskRJS is the hashtag on Twitter. Let's get started. Let's talk about stuff. This episode, I'm not going to get started yet. Why am I saying that I'm going to get started when I still have to thank the patron? We've got a patron that helped us out, helped create this episode. This episode of Switchcraft is made possible by patrons like DMX8372. I find it hard to believe that there were 8,371 DMXs before him, but, you know, DMX is a famous rapper, so maybe it's him. Anyway, Switchcraft and my other content can be found ad-free for as little as $1 by joining the Patreon over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. Okay. I keep talking about that I'm going to get started. Well, now I really am. All right. Are you ready? Nintendo Versus. Do you follow Nintendo Versus on Twitter? If you don't follow Nintendo Versus on Twitter, you should follow Nintendo Versus on Twitter. They are an official Nintendo Twitter account, one of the official Nintendo Twitter accounts. And this is the one that focuses on competitive gaming. You know, so we're talking about Smash Brothers. We're talking about Mario Kart. We're talking about Splatoon. Maybe even ARMS, if we're lucky, because ARMS is a fantastic game. Just any kind of competitive game where there might be tournaments or things like that. That is what Nintendo Versus tweets about. Now, they tweeted out yesterday. They tweeted this out yesterday. Join Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Director Masahiro Sakurai on January 16th at 6 a.m. Pacific Time. That would be 9 a.m. Eastern for a roughly 35-minute video live stream featuring an in-depth look at upcoming DLC fighter, which we will unveil in the video. Now, if you are looking at the video, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, which you should be, why aren't you? All right. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then you can't see what I just clicked on because it's way too zoomed in. But if you're watching it over at youtube.com/runjumpstomp, then you can see this image of Mr. Sakurai presents in 3 little question marks. And then it has Mr. Sakurai. He's kind of bending his elbow in a way and holding up 3 fingers. And a lot of people are making speculations based on that. There's 3 question marks. He's holding up 3 fingers. What does it mean? Everybody is trying to chime in and say who the next character is based on something to do with 3. Now, I've got a theory, and I'm sure that I'm not the only person to think of this idea. But I have a theory, and that theory is not one that people are going to be happy with. If there is one thing that that most people could probably agree on, is that right now the Fire Emblem games are overrepresented in Smash Brothers. The Fire Emblem games have, for the number of games that they have, the length of time that they've been around, they have a lot of characters from Fire Emblem in the Smash Brothers games. So what is my theory? Well, my theory is earlier this year, last year's winner of best strategy game, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Fire Emblem Three Houses, that won best strategy game, and we've got a lot of Fire Emblem games. I'm thinking that maybe this is going to be the three main characters, not main characters, the three heads of the houses in Fire Emblem Three Houses. So not Byleth or whatever his or her name was, but the three characters, the leaders of the Red Lion clan, Red Eagle, Blue Lion, and something else. I can't remember. It's been too long since I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, but I think that that's going to be one character, and that those will be oh gosh, what do they call those? Oh, Echo Fighters. So if you're not a Smash Brothers fan, then what you might not understand is that in Smash they have regular characters and then they have Echo Fighters, and Echo Fighters are very, very similar to the main to another character, with some slight tweaks that make them a different character with big ol' air quotes. So I think that we're going to get those three characters. I wish I could remember their names. I'm sure somebody in chat is going to remember the names of those characters, but I can't remember it. I hope that I'm not right. Not because I don't think that they'd be good characters, because I'm sure that they would. In fact, every single time that they add a new character to Smash Brothers and I play it, I'm always like, they did a good job here. They did a good job, and I have fun with it. So I don't know how I feel about it, but it looks like we're going to get those three characters, and we'll see what happens. Let's see what chat is saying. Fisto in chat says Three Houses and then screams. Res TV says it will be Waluigi. Or he's adding 33 new fighters to the game before returning to his home planet. Yeah, if you don't know, Masahiro Sakurai works a lot. And there was a story that I read, I don't know if it was a few years ago or if it was recently. It's just kind of foggy in my brain. But of this time when he was really, really sick, but he wanted to work anyway. So he went to work, and they had somebody bring in like an IV bag to keep him from getting dehydrated, so he could keep working on the game. He's hooked up to this bag to keep him healthy, which is bananas. Fisto in chat is saying, I was thinking Devil May Cry 3 is coming to Switch, and DMC Twitter said to stay posted on January 16th for exciting news. Now, I am not a huge fan of Devil May Cry. Well, okay, let me be honest. I don't care about those games even a little. I played Devil May Cry 2 once for, I don't know, about 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, it's this kind of game. Not really for me. I'll move on. And that's fine. It doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's just not a game for me. So I have not been following the Devil May Cry stuff at all. That's very interesting. The idea that Devil May Cry 3 is coming to the Switch, and the Devil May Cry Twitter said that they're going to have some kind of exciting news on January 16th. And then this, I don't want to say direct, it's just Mr. Sakurai Presents is what they call it. This direct is happening on the 16th. So you put all of those things together, I think that makes a lot of sense. So Fisto, thank you very much for that information in chat. Hey, this is why I do the show live, because the chat helps out. If you haven't watched live, just go to twitch.tv/runjumpstomp, and while you're there, click on the little heart button. That's the follow button, so that you get notified next time that I post something new or go live or whatever it is that we're going to be saying. All right, let's talk about Ubisoft real quick. Ubisoft, they are the publisher. They're the studio that brought us Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And Davide Soliani, he did such a great job on that game. Now, I could objectively see that it was an incredibly well-made and well-designed game. It didn't get its hooks into me the way that I feel like it got its hooks into everybody else. And because of that, I always feel a little guilty when I say that I haven't even come close to finishing it. I think I got to like the 4th or 5th world and I got bored and moved on to something else. That says more about me than it does about the game. But Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is really, really good. And the studio that brought it is a subsidiary of Ubisoft, Ubisoft Milan. And this is a Resetera post from Ninten Leo. It says, Ubisoft Milan, the studio that brought us Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, is looking for 3D artists and animators to work on a prestigious AAA title. All right. The announcement that has been published by director Davide Soliani. Yes, that's the guy who, when Mr. Miyamoto, who listen, if you're listening to a Nintendo podcast and you don't know who Mr. Miyamoto is, then I don't know what you're doing. But I'll explain anyway. Mr. Miyamoto is the guy who came up with Mario, came up with Zelda, came up with Donkey Kong, basically saved Nintendo when they shipped thousands of radar scope cabinets to the United States and nobody wanted them. He basically saved Nintendo of America at that point. Anyway, so Mr. Miyamoto is up on stage at E3 and they are unveiling with Izgumo, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Izgumo. He's the guy in charge of Ubisoft. But they're up there together on stage, and Mr. Miyamoto is gushing about how much he loves Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And then the camera pans to Davide Soliani, the guy who designed it, the head cheese, as it were, for Ubisoft Milan, and he's just crying. He's crying because his hero, or maybe I'm assuming his hero is saying all of these wonderful things about him. And you could not look, if that's all you knew about the game, that was enough reason to buy it right then, because this is somebody that really cares about that particular that job that he's working on. It was clear that he cares, and when somebody cares, they make something good. And by all accounts, when you play Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, you feel like, is this a first-party Nintendo game? Because it feels like it came straight from Nintendo. It doesn't feel like a game that was made by somebody else. And that is really, really high praise from pretty much everybody. So it's a fantastic game. And the idea that we're getting another one is very exciting. Now, to me, what I would prefer is not Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2. I don't want a sequel. I don't want a sequel at all. What I want is Hyrule Kingdom Battle. Get the Rabbids out of it. We don't need them. They were funny the first time around. Look, it's minions, but they're rabbits. Okay, great. I don't really care about that. But what I would love to have is all of the Zelda stuff in this engine with this style of game, because we all know that Zelda is close to my heart. Like that would make me so happy. And I think it would be fantastic. There's enough character depth in the Zelda world for them to do that. And I would absolutely adore if they brought a Zelda Kingdom Battle. Now, if they brought a Zelda plus Rabbids, I would probably tolerate it, because I don't really care about the Rabbids. I think they're dumb. Vaxer in chat is saying Rabbids were never funny since the Rayman game. I thought that there were some funny moments in Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. There were some funny moments, but they weren't enough for me to really care. So I would prefer if they just kind of steered away from the Rabbids part and just made another Kingdom Battle game, but this time featuring Hyrule. I think that would be fantastic. Anyway, they are looking for 3D animators and 3D artists, and I think that that's exciting because if nothing else, we're getting something from a studio with Davide Soliani, and I think I'm saying his name right, by the way, but he's Italian, so I could be screwing everything up. We're getting another game from that studio led by him, and that by itself is just awesome. All right, let's take a break. We're going to hear from a sponsor, and when we come back, we've got a couple more things to talk about. Stick around. All right, everybody, we are back. Welcome back. Thank you very much for our sponsors for helping us make this stuff. Now, this next one I'm excited about. I'm extremely excited about this one, and here's why. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I remember playing this game when my son was a baby. All right, we had just brought him home from the hospital, and my wife and I would sit next to each other on the couch while he was sleeping, and I would play this game and she would watch, and I played through the entire game, my wife sitting next to me, and that's only ever happened one other time, and the only other time that's happened was Firewatch, which is a wonderful, wonderful game that you need to check out. It's really, really good, but that's a really short game. Now, this game is not super short. So the idea that my wife watching me play this for a long period of time means that it did an amazing job telling the story. And people are wondering, Bill, what is this game that you're talking about? Well, I'm going to tell you. The game is Bioshock. Bioshock is one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time. It's tied. I think it's tied with Doom 2016. Those are both amazing games. The shooting in Doom 2016 is just better, but the storytelling in Bioshock is probably some of my most memorable video game moments ever. I still refer to this. In fact, my number one most impactful story-based video game moment happened in the first Bioshock game. And I'm not going to tell you what that moment was. All right? I will say something that will spoil it only for people who've seen it. All right? If you've not played Bioshock, this will mean nothing to you. But the doors open, and there's a phrase written on a wall, and when you see that phrase, everything dawns on you, and that's when you realize something profound about the game that you've been playing for all this time. That is one of the most powerful storytelling moments that I've ever happened in video games, and for me, it's number one. So Bioshock is exciting that it's coming to Nintendo Switch. Wait a second, it's coming to Nintendo Switch? Maybe. All right. This comes to us via Taiwanese Games Rating Board, which sometimes things get leaked that way. This is more information that leads me to think that there's a direct coming. Although we just had a Pokemon Direct, and now we have Mr. Sakurai Presents. So are we going to also have a full-on Nintendo Direct that talks about a bunch of different stuff? I don't know, but I think so. But Bioshock, oh my God, what a wonderful game. Now, the second one, my son when the second one came out, I didn't play it because my Xbox 360, which is what I played the first one on, that was in the living room. And at this time, my son was old enough that he could, he'd be in the room and he would see what was happening. And that game was, like the Bioshock games are very violent. So I ended up skipping that one. I didn't play it. I missed out on it. I heard not great things about it anyway. But then when the third one came out, I had my office, not this office, but I think I was in an office. I was sharing my wife's sewing room on the other side of the house. I didn't have this office yet. And so I played Bioshock Bioshock Infinite in that room. And that game did that same thing to me that Bioshock 1 did. There was a moment in the game where something happens and something is revealed to you, and suddenly everything makes sense. And at the same time, you can't believe that you didn't see it all along, but at the same time that you can't believe that it happened. How do I phrase this? Concurrently, you can't believe that that's happened, and you're like, how did I not see it coming? Like, those two things happen at the same time in Bioshock Infinite, or as I like to call it, Skyoshock. A lot of people called it that because Bioshock was underwater and Bioshock Infinite was up in the air. So those games coming to Nintendo Switch is very, very exciting. It says here, this is on lootpots.com. And they got the information from gamerrating.org.tw, and I think I saw it over on Resetera at some point. I don't know what the original source is, other than an actual listing on the Taiwanese games rating board, but I don't know who translated that. But anyway, amongst the Switch ratings are Bioshock Remastered, Bioshock 2 Remastered, Bioshock Infinite, the Complete Collection, and Bioshock the Collection. Now, Bioshock Infinite, the Complete Collection, I don't really know what that means. Was there DLC for Bioshock Infinite that I just didn't know about? I mean, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I don't know. But listen, these games are awesome. Some of the best storytelling that has ever been in a video game. And if you don't have Bioshock already on some other platform, then you should 100% buy it as soon as it comes to the Switch, because it's going to be great. Not only is it going to be great, but we're talking about games that came out on the Xbox 360, right? So it's going to run like a dream on the Switch. It's going to run fantastic on the Switch. So you're going to have a fantastic experience by playing that. And I just can't wait for a whole new set of people to play Bioshock for the first time. I'm jealous. You know how you get that feeling after going to a movie and you're talking to somebody about that movie and you're like, man, I wish that I could watch this movie again, not knowing anything about it. Like, that's how I wish that I could play Bioshock again, because those moments where everything is revealed and you're confused and blown away all at the same time, they're amazing moments that can only really be pulled off in a video game. People in chat, Fisto is saying it was a Sixth Sense moment brought by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. So if you don't know what he's talking about, there's a movie called The Sixth Sense made by M. Night Shyamalan. You should watch it. And when you watch it and then you get to the end, watch it again right afterwards, and everything that's revealed at the end will give you this new light as you watch the movie again. It's really, really amazing. Anyway, those are games that might be coming to the Nintendo Switch. I want to talk about games that we know are coming to the Nintendo Switch. Are you ready for this? Here's a game that we know is coming to the Nintendo Switch because it was tweeted out. We already knew it was coming, but now we've got a date, and I am excited for this game. Speedrunners is releasing on Nintendo Switch on January 23rd. Get your pre-orders in at a 20% discount. Yay! That comes to us from at Double Dutch Games. Or I'm sorry, at DD_games, which is short for Double Dutch Games. Now, if you don't know what Speedrunners is, let me explain. I want you to imagine Mario Kart, where you are in a side-scrolling platformer. You are racing to be out in front of people. You can have weapons which can defeat others. You can like throw a grappling hook at somebody and pull them backwards, and you will rocket forward to get out in front of them. And the camera stays fixed on the person in first place. Now, while the camera stays fixed on the person in first place, the play area continually gets smaller. Each lap, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, so it's harder for the people who are further behind to keep up. So you get into a race, you're running around, whoever is the last person alive, you do an infinite number of laps. Whoever's the last person alive wins. If you get outside the boundary of play, you are out of the race, and then you're just watching the rest of the race. I've had this game on Steam for a really, really long time, and it is fantastic. It's got exceedingly adorable art style, very superhero-y, and it's just, the gameplay is incredibly fun, and it is one of my favorite games where you can just sit down and say, I'm going to play this for 15 minutes, and then I'll come back, or, and then go do something else. It's already on Steam, Xbox One, PS4. Well, now it is coming to Nintendo Switch, and I have to say, I don't know why it took so long. This game is fantastic, and it's. I think Double Dutch Games is the company that makes it. I wasn't going to talk about this, so I didn't look it up ahead of time, but I think Double Dutch Games is the company that makes it, but the game is published by the same company that makes, they make a bunch of other games, and they brought lots of games to the Nintendo Switch, and every time that they did, I was hoping, I wish I could remember them. Every time that they did, I would say to myself, well, when are we getting Speedrunners, damn it? Well, now we know. We're getting Speedrunners on January 23rd. So listen, right now you can get it at a 20% discount. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Nintendo's website and type it in and find out how much the pre-order is. Speedrunners. There we go. And let's find out, how much does this game cost? Oh, it's going to have a demo available. Normally it's going to be $15. It is on sale for $12 for pre-purchase. So I highly recommend this game. It's incredibly fun, and you're going to have a lot of fun with it. And on Steam, it has like online play. I'm assuming that it has online play. Let's see what they actually say about it on on the website. Let's see, where is it? Grapple your friends to outrun them in this competitive multiplayer platform in a city filled with superheroes. Getting to crimes becomes a competition on its own. Fortunately, if there are enough rockets, bombs, grappling hooks, spikes, and other goodies lying around to make competition fun and fast. Welcome to Speedrunners. Speedrunners is a 4-player competitive platformer with grappling, hooks, power-ups, and interactive environments. Run, jump, swing. They spelled stomp wrong. Run, jump, swing around, fire rockets, and grapple onto your opponents to knock them off screen. And it says this game supports online play right down here at the bottom. Oh, I'm not scrolled down far enough for you guys. This game supports online play right there. So you're going to be able to play online. It's a great game. You're missing out if you don't pick it up. I think I may click the pre-purchase button right after I'm done recording the show. And speaking of the show, that's it for today's episode. Don't forget hashtag RJS or Ask RJS, hashtag Ask RJS for those questions. And I will do a feedback show on Saturday. We're going to begin with a discussion about Amiibo on Saturday. So if you want to become a part of the community, join the Discord. There's over 1,000 people in the Discord, and they're awesome. They are really, really awesome. We've kicked out all the riffraff. So get in there, join the Discord. You can also watch the show live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. Big thank you to everybody who shows up for the live show. And, of course, get a hold of me on Twitter. This show is part of the Giant Size Team Up Network. For more information about them and their shows, go on over to gstu.net. If you're looking for ways to support the show, head on over to runjumpstomp.com/thank you. The music you're hearing right now is Corneria, Star Fox Remix by Noteblock. Thank you all for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.